Hello. Hello, good morning for those tuning up on the West Coast, and good afternoon for those joining us from the East Coast. My name is Tony.
And I'm Brandon.
Welcome to Academy on Air. So Brandon and I, we are the mobile app agency team here at Google. Today, this is the first of the 4 sessions that we are hosting on the topic of apps in October. These 4 sessions are app focused, and they are aimed to help you as an agency to better understand the landscape of the app install market, to learn more about the solutions at Google that enables you as an agency to build a successful app install business, and the kind of support that you can expect from us in order to help you achieve those goals. So here's the agenda for today. First of all, Brandon and I are going to talk about the mobile app usage, the app install market overview around the globe. And in the second part, we will briefly touch on what building a business partnership with Google's app agency team looks like. And lastly, we'll talk about the ways and means at Google that we offer to help you to win more app business from the market. So, one question I definitely hear a lot from my friends sometimes, and from I see that question a lot from news outlets, apps dead. Apparently, there are many people and youth think that apps are dead because people are starting to get too many apps in their phone that they're no longer looking for new apps. Do you feel that to be true? Do you, Brandon?
I don't think so. In my opinion, apps are so ingrained in our society today. We're using them to help benefit life, make it simpler, make it more streamlined. And for me personally, I'm always looking for those life hacks out there, and apps definitely provide that. So from my perspective, I definitely don't think apps are dead. I do think they're growing, and we're still seeing industries boom with the usage of apps and the creation of apps.
Okay.
What about you, Tony?
Well, I'm more of a data guy, so let's look at the look at the stats. So the data definitely says that it's not true that apps are dead. Apparently, from you can see from this slide, there are a ton of data suggesting that apps usage and app downloads are still growing tremendously.
Yeah, and again, on the graph, you can see that downloads and gross revenue are booming. And so not only are people still installing and downloading apps, but they're also spending money within these apps. And according to a forecast from App Annie, we're going to see revenue grow or double by 2020. So there aren't really any signs, according to the data, that this is going to slow down anytime soon. And I think we can see that in everyday life.
Yeah, and I guess, Brandon, especially for emerging markets, there are a lot of people there who are getting their mobile devices for the first time. Obviously, they are very curious about their new devices, and they are constantly in the mood of discovery. So I guess a lot of attractions you can get a lot of attractions in those emerging markets.
Yeah, and I think we're thinking from a perspective of some of those main primary markets. But again, as Tony was saying, their smartphone penetration is still growing, and more cell phones and smartphones are being sold. So the apps business still has room to grow within all of these emerging markets.
Yeah, that's right. Another data point, told you I love data, that there are around 70% of the people among the millennial are constantly looking for new apps. I guess that's a category you fall into.
Yeah, and I think that's huge for a lot of these advertisers and a lot of your clients out there, is that millennials are a target market that a lot of these clients are trying to penetrate, drive loyalty from, and apps are really the way to do that, especially as we've seen recently with the boom in cryptocurrency. We're also seeing a lot of new apps, new coin-based wallets coming out, and downloads and adoption of those is huge. So we're seeing apps also promote and help drive whole industries, as we have previously seen with even like the dating industry.
Yeah. So I guess there's no better example than Pokemon Go from earlier last year. It was such a global phenomenon, right? So as we all know, mobile gaming, it's not new. Even the technology of AR is not new. Pokemon itself is like what, 20 years old?
Yeah.
But then Pokemon Go created such a global phenomena that essentially everyone I knew was downloading and playing it. So I guess that's just one perfect example to your point, Brendan, that if you make innovation on apps, you can still drive a lot of downloads and new users.
Exactly. And I think we all saw when Pokemon Go came out, everyone was outside, everyone was playing it. So that's one of the more extreme examples, but we do see adoption of apps all the time, as long as they're innovative and they really engage the users. And as we said, we're always tied to our smartphones. I think I have mine at all times throughout the day. And 90% of that time in 2016, we were actually spending that on mobile apps. So not only are apps not dead, but we're still really using them at all times, driving, again, that loyalty and retention with these brands.
You're not using your apps right now, I do.
Okay, well, this is the 10% that I am not using my app.
So I guess if we look at by category a little bit more in detail, just in shopping, nearly 70% of the online sales come from mobile devices, and more than half are coming from apps.
And again, with these mobile apps for these shopping companies, e-commerce companies, you're putting your logo on a smartphone. So not only are you getting that brand awareness just organically, but when they do go to purchase something, they'll go within your app, and driving that point home, that loyalty aspect comes into play. They will open your app. They're only going to buy from you. Yeah. So I think, again, we're driving loyalty and also repeat customers through apps.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. On web, I suppose people are just less loyal. They like to go to every single site and compare prices and compare products. But if you enter an app, then you pretty much stick on that portal to discover, right?
It's much more difficult to research outside of one
app.
So
you build loyalty with your clients.
Exactly.
Another example, as you mentioned earlier, are dating apps. Did you know that close to 80% of the dating activities online are now done on mobile apps?
And I think this is a perfect example of how we saw an entire industry transform with the creation of mobile apps. Whereas before, you had to be by a laptop, a desktop, to find new matches or communicate with your matches. But now mobile apps made that more on the go. Like, you're more mobile, you're able to chat with your matches at any time. And this is just one example of how apps can really benefit and grow an industry.
Yeah, I think dating is one. I think the apps are one good example. I think essentially what apps trumps a lot of the web usage is because of the amount of data and information it can collect, right? So it knows where you are, it knows what devices you're using, it knows the time of day and sort of like what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. That's not something that you can a desktop is going to pick up, right?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so as we've said before, we definitely see this space growing. There are almost 3 million apps on the Google Play Store and over 2 million on Apple's App Store. So we're really seeing the adoption of apps continue. More apps are being released every day. So it's important to make sure that we get this into the forefront, and then we also help discoverability and make sure you can break through.
Wow, almost 3 million apps on Google Play. I bet the discovery, if you're looking for a particular app, or if you're an app and you want to get noticed, it's pretty difficult on those stores, right?
And I think that's exactly the importance of agencies and Google partners, is understanding how to help these app developers get their name out there and get their app out there, because discoverability is hard, as we mentioned before. There are millions of apps in the App Store. Finding the right users is getting more and more complex.
And I bet the top players like Facebook, Google, and Supercell of the world are dominating the top charts. So as a small, medium-sized developer, it's even harder for them to get noticed, right?
And that's where, again, agencies will come into play to offer that marketing support. Make sure that these app developers that have worked so hard on releasing an app get it in the right hands and are able to monetize it and make it a big part of their business. Whether they have an app before or just releasing one, it's important to make sure that they get that visibility and they get that user base growing. So then how do we actually get high-value users to download your app? And we here at the Google App Agency team are a resource and really want to partner with you to make sure that you get the support, and you are able to drive success for your clients. And we like to think that we have the scale here at Google across all of our different properties to reach the right users, reach them at scale, and drive efficient installs. And as you can see, we have a variety of different platforms that we can run on. And we've been able to drive over 6 billion installs from our app ad campaigns. And we've been able to drive over 3 billion in-app events per quarter. So we're trying to expand this, and we want to make sure that you can leverage our capabilities with the app agency team's guidance. Now, it doesn't matter where you are around the world. We are able to really help you out. We're a global team. Regardless of where your agency is headquartered, we have resources dedicated to helping you. So how will we help you? There are 3 main pillars that we would help. First of all is business development. So making sure that we integrate ourselves with your team. We are driving towards your success metrics, whether that's new business, growing existing businesses, identifying new opportunities. That's what we're here for. We're also here to help with account management. Whether you need help with optimization support, any troubleshooting, we're here as well. And then the products here at Google are consistently changing and making sure that you guys are up to date with product trainings, product updates. Again, we want to make sure that communication is strong between Google and your agency. So getting more on a tactical level of what those 3 pillars look like, the first, again, is communication. We want to make sure that your agency has a line of communication to Google, whether that be for new opportunities that can come in the form of alphas and betas with our app install products. But also, we want to make sure that we're listening to you and your clients. So hosting feedback sessions, bubbling up any feedback you have will help us improve the product and help us make sure that it's appropriate for you and your clients. Again, trainings, making sure that we are helping you optimize your campaigns, following best practices, again, with the end goal of driving success for your clients. And then recommendations and assistance. So this is any marketing collateral, any industry insights we can provide to help you win new business, to help retain this business, help with media planning, build case studies that you can then go market to new prospective clients and say, we are an expert and we partner closely with Google on app install campaigns, will go a long way to, again, winning that new business. And lastly, commitment. We just want to make sure that we're helping you on a top-line strategic level, identifying new opportunities, building out how do we win more business for you is the end goal. And so there are a few different opportunities for agencies here. There are a few different types of apps and companies that you'll work with. The first is pure play. So these are companies that only have an app, and they just need to drive installs or re-engagement. And a vast majority of their budgets will be towards app install. So we're here to help you with that. On the flip side, we have hybrid agencies who have a website and an app. And what we've seen with some of these hybrid agencies or hybrid clients is they might have built an app, but they're not really sure how to leverage that app to drive additional business and revenue for them. So understanding why they built an app and how they're going to use it moving forward will be really important. And that's, again, where we can provide insight, industry knowledge, and then drive app installs through Google's platforms. And lastly, there are businesses that don't have an app yet, and that will just take educational. We need to educate them on the importance of apps. As we went through today, apps are a growing part of society in general, and we need to make sure that these clients are able to take advantage of that. And then once we are able to develop that app and make sure that they feel confident that we can actually drive installs and a user base for them, then we can work together to execute on that plan. So we have a few partners that we've already been working with, and I wanted to share a few examples. These are 2 agencies that actually just started working with us this year and have already seen great success. The first is Bamboo, and Bamboo was a social agency, and they decided to test Google's app install product with their client Chimp Change, and they saw really strong results and were able to publish this case study on their website. And this is really the end goal. We want to make sure that our agencies are all supported. We give you marketing collateral that you can actually utilize. And this proves on the Bamboo website that they know how to run Google App Install campaigns. So that will potentially help them market to new clients and help them win new business to drive app installs with Google. And I think that's really the end goal that Tony and I's team here want to help you with. The next example is Incipia. They are a mobile-first agency, and they worked with the client People Fund, and again, saw really strong success. And on the screen here, you can see that there's a quote that People Fund have seen the power of Google's app install campaigns, and they highlighted how important it was to partner with Incipia, the agency, and Google to drive the most success. And I think that's just a testament to what we're trying to do here. We're trying to partner with you, the agency, to drive the best success for your clients so it can be a win-win-win partnership. So now I'm going to pass it back to Tony to talk about how we actually implement these app install campaigns.
Well, thank you, Brandon. So essentially, the question of how how as an agency can use Google's offerings to win more app install business, the answer lies within. Okay, right. I like that it was being animated. So the answer lies within universal app campaigns. So what it is essentially, our universal app campaign is essentially the best use of Google's machine learning technology and all the tech, ad tech and brain power behind it. So the brain that powers universal app campaign is essentially the same brain that power the AlphaGo with in its Go match with Lisa Do and Ke. So what it essentially is that the universal app campaign will take your analytics, your insights, and your strategies and the creatives that you made, and combine it with Google's unique platform and signals, and then apply learning algorithms towards them in order to find the best and most valuable users. So it will serve across many networks, which I'll go into more details a little bit later, and then it will take around 300 million signals, including like the time of day, like where the device is, where the person is, what the device type is, what sort of apps that people install in their mobile device, have they in the past been a paid user, etc., etc. So it will take all those signals into consideration to find the best user, the most appropriate user for the particular type of apps that you are promoting. So as I said earlier, and as Brandon described earlier, we have a tremendous network that we are able to serve these mobile app installs on. For example, I'm going from left to right on Google Play Store. So there are a lot of search ads and a lot of display ads that can be serviced on Google Play Store. And where is a better place than Play Store to drive downloads? Right? People are in the Play Store, they are looking for apps, and they're in the mindset of exploring. And if you can get your search ads in App Store, that's one of the most, that indicates that it's a place that shows highest install intention. Similarly, on Google Search, while you can do traditional sort of like text ad search on Google search website or Google Search app, there's a format just dedicated for app install. As you can see from the screenshot, that a install button will surface on the app, and upon clicking that, it will take you to either Google Play Store or Apple iOS Store. And then there's the banner and the interstitials that get shown across Google's vast Google Display Network and Google's AdMob network. So we have somewhat billions of impressions that's serving every day, and being in that network and having your ad shown to somewhat 1-2 billion users around the world is going to get a lot of traction to your app install. And similarly, on our biggest video platform, YouTube, you can do TrueView, you can do search, you can do other types of display form of app campaigns on YouTube, just as you can on lastly on Gmail ads. There's also a format that designed for Gmail that allows you to serve ads for users who are looking for app downloads. So the the main advantage of the universal app campaign is that you no longer need to do your media plans and say and think what percentage of your budget should go to each network, because that's a tedious work, and that's not bringing you any closer to your eventual goal, which is to define valuable users, right? So with universal app campaign, it takes care of that part for you. It will basically scroll through all the networks and find the most relevant placement and find the most valuable users to show those ads. So that's a part of machine learning that it's really easy for you to set up with the right strategy. You can reach millions and billions of users at your fingertip. And lastly, I guess some of you might ask the question right now: why should I get into this space now? Is it too late? Because app has been here for a while. Is it too early? And this is the last question we want to address here. Well, I think you should definitely start now because the universal app campaigns are evolving. Just less than a month ago, we made some major announcement towards universal ad campaign. A lot of new features are launched. So right now, on top of getting just pure install volumes to the app, we also allow you to do a action campaign, which essentially is you tell the universal app campaign what type of in-app action or event that you want to drive. So with this campaign type, you're not just driving installs, you're essentially driving actions. So I could say that I want people to sign up for my app. I want people to subscribe to my app. I probably I really need the monetization, so I care less about driving everyone to my app, but I want to get the really loyal and valuable users who will pay the subscription fees. We can definitely perform a action campaign and just have your campaigns optimized in driving those users. And further down the pipeline, we have what we call the UAC for universal ad campaign for value, and that takes another step beyond driving installs and actions, and that essentially is we are optimized towards return on ad spend, return on the cost of promoting your apps and developing your apps, right? So that works really that's going to work really well with games, with retails, with travels, etc., where there's a very very clear monetary value into what each clients can potentially bring to. So with all those campaign types, what we really try to achieve is depending on your strategy, your developer strategy, and choosing the right campaign type, we can bring whatever that's most relevant at this stage of your campaign. So with that, I think obviously there's a lot more details that we are not touching today, which is why I encourage you to tune into next week's session, which will go much deeper into universal app campaigns. But I think the message is here that it's actually one of the best time to start thinking about these, because we are making so much changes with universal app campaign that if you get started now, you can be such a you can be in such a strong position to be the the thought leaders in the industry, to be to build one of the case study that Brandon was sharing. You can be on top of this game from now on. And lastly, just to add a cherry on top, this is probably the best season in the year to get started because of the holiday seasons. So traditionally, we've always known holiday seasons are key for any companies that are doing marketing campaigns, because people buy a ton of stuff. They're going to travels. They spend a lot in holiday seasons. So that's one reason it's a good timing, because a lot of the developers, all of the businesses are looking for new purchasers, new buyers in holiday, and that's just one of the two reasons. And the second part is that with the holidays coming, a lot of the players, a lot of the customers are buying devices for themselves, or they receive gift from their family and friends. So there's an estimate that just this years alone, there's close to 1 billion smartphone being purchased. So that's millions and billions of smartphones being activated, which means those people who just got their shiny new phones and with all those storage available, they are looking for a lot of interesting apps, and they are in the mindset of exploring. So right now we still have 1 month to go into the real holiday seasons, and if you get started with us now, we have a month's time to get prepared to find the potential developers and businesses out there. And when the time hits, we can already launch a very successful campaign and drive a ton of revenue for you and for your clients. And with that, we're closer to our end. We still have a Q&A session, but I just wanted to point out that we are here to support you guys. There's an email address app/agency@google.com. Feel free to reach out to us to either learn more about our app install solutions, or just to get a sense of our point of view onto the app space. If you need help or support with acquiring clients, we're here to support you. And lastly, we were very keen to forming a long-term business relationship with you, so that we can begin the dialogue now into what sort of capability that you need to develop as an agency, what's the pipeline is going to look like, and how to acquire clients. So we're here to talk. We're here to help. So if you have any questions or any requests you want from us, just email this link.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we're going into the questions.
Yeah, so there's a question about, can universal app campaigns be only for Android? And the answer is no. So universal app campaigns, they can actually run for iOS or Android. We would like to set separate targets and separate campaigns for those, but we can target both.
That's correct. And I'm reading here a second question. How do you identify a good app client prospect, Brendan, if you want to address that?
Yeah, so I think there are a few factors there. First of all, we're seeing a boom in freemium apps, which is free to install, and then there are either subscriptions or in-app purchases available. So lowering that barrier of entry to installing the app is always a plus, and then monetizing through ads, through in-app purchases. But then also just making sure that it has strong reviews and that users are actually engaging and appreciating the service that it's providing is always huge. So I think those are the main two facets. Are there any others that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's a good enough answer. I think that's a question that ties really well to that, which is where can I find what type of buyers are using mobile apps? So say if my target market is a particular vertical, how do I find the buyers? And the answer to that question is you can rely a lot on universal app campaigns, because what it does is that universal app campaign, it index the app, it will scroll through it, it will crawl through the App Store, it will crawl through the Google Play. It knows what type of app this is, because app developer also classify and categorize their apps when they upload their apps onto the Play Store. So our system has a lot of information towards what categories these apps fall into, and also we have a lot of download data because we own the Google Play Store, right? So for example, there are 1,000 downloads with a particular app. So with those information, the system is going to know that what type or what categories of these users are from. Are they millennials? Are they tend to be older? Are they males, females? In general, people, the interests of the people are aligned with like in games, in e-commerce. So the machine is going to have a lot of data point to learn from. So from your perspective, it's more about communicating with the clients and getting them understand that that you can set a very good strategy for the user acquisition, and the universal app campaign will take care of all of the user finding and targetings.
There's another question on any tips and tricks for getting an app on the Google Play Store and not lost in the thousands of other apps. And I think that just ties back to discoverability that we talked about before. So getting on the Google Play Store isn't too difficult. Obviously, there are some requirements and policies that you need to adhere to. But then getting exposure and getting that visibility, I think making sure that you have a unique value proposition for the app, making sure your App Store page is optimized. So there are a variety of different things to make sure that you have the right images, the logo reflects your app correctly, and you have like a brand image on that page, as well as all the keywords and description that you have. So that will help. But then the next thing is to really help drive installs. And that's where all of these user acquisition app install campaigns will come into play. So we'll help you drive those installs, drive traction. As more high reviews come in, that should help conversion rates as people are browsing through the App Store and want to find your app. And then also, along with that, the more installs we're able to drive, the higher we're actually able to rank you within the Google Play charts. Or on the iOS side, again, we can help it with those installs and drive you up those charts as well. So making sure you get any visibility possible. It's a cyclical effect. The more we invest and drive installs, the higher we're able to get your visibility within the App Store in general.
I'm hearing a question regarding if there are any requirements to getting support from the app agency team. I would say the only requirement is willingness to enter this market. So Brennan and I, we run the app agency programs here at Google, and we're very keen at looking for potential partners to enter the space, to build, to grow, and to win businesses. There aren't any hard requirements, so we're not going to say that you have to spend $1,000 per day with us. So the only thing we ask is that if you're really interested, perhaps get someone within your agency to be dedicated into app, and then we were very much willing to help you guys do trainings and do client pages together. So just get in touch with us. I guess that's the only thing you need to do.
I think, yeah, at a very high level, we're just looking for, if you're interested at all in learning more about app install and building out this program, we're here to help. And that's, think of us as an extended member of your internal team. We're happy to help you identify prospects, pitch new clients, as Tony said, and just overall strategize on how to tackle this market.
This question on how should we evaluate campaign performance? What KPIs should our clients be looking at? You want to address that, Brent?
Yeah, I think it'll depend on each client. So depending on how they monetize the app, depending on, again, what their goals are, whether it's driving subscriptions, driving additional in-app events or in-app purchases, or if your app is monetized via ads, just getting that retention. So it depends on what their app, the monetization structure of their app is. But always, I think we need to make sure that we're driving quality users. So whether that's retention, what that quality means will depend on each client.
Yep. There's a question on are there more specialty e-commerce retailer having success with apps? I think the answer to that is yes. So obviously Amazon is big, and we know Walmart and Amazon alike, they're very big on apps themselves too. But I've definitely seen success with a more like verticalized specialty e-commerce retailers, because I think as users get more sophisticated, in their buying purchase habits, they will look at more specialty players you have any
I
insights to that?
I think this goes into the next question. Are there any tips and tricks for getting an app, or sorry, what strategies or tactics could we use to get an app user to favor our app over an established brand or larger app? So just talking about these smaller players in the industry within their vertical, the unique selling proposition will be the most important. So what differentiates your app from these bigger players? Why should they install your app is something I think an agency will be able to help an app client help with, just strategizing that point of view, and then making sure that's reflected in any, again, on the App Store page, in any user acquisition campaigns that you run, making sure that's highlighted within the creative, within the text, to showcase that brand. I think it's similar to any other industry outside of just apps. Why are you better than X player? And that's what we need to highlight in, again, the App Store page or any advertising campaigns that you run.
Okay, I think with that we've answered most of the question. We are a little short on time, so I think with that, please feel free to keep the question going, or send your question to app/agency@google.com. We'll look at those questions and then we'll post whatever question that we haven't got a chance to answer into our community. And if you email us, we'll definitely get back. So lastly, I guess if you're interested, just keep attending first. Keep attending these webinars. We have 3 more coming. So next week will be a much more deep dive into the universal app campaigns. So I recommend you to attend that. And obviously, if you have any interest of forming a more formal partnership with us, shoot us an email.
Yeah, and looking forward to hearing from you and hope we can partner together.
Thank you.